Thank you so much, Morgan, because we in these hot-ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot-ass mess, honey. So yes. Right, okay. All right, I'm gonna move on.
Yeah, we got to talk about Jasmine Crockett today. Because as you just heard there, she made some comments about Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who, if you guys didn't know, Greg Abbott is in a wheelchair. But she made fun of him. Obviously, you heard what she said there, called him Hot Wheels. She's receiving some backlash from that. And I'm going to play this CNN clip, but then I'm going to get into The View. And I know, y'all are like, The View, Rich, really? Trust me, you're not going to want to miss The View clip. I'm telling you, you're not going to want to miss it. All right? So with that being said, let's dive in.
If you make fun of somebody because of their disability, I do not agree with that. As a person with a disability, as a person who has family members with a disability, as a person who has taught children with a disability, that is not acceptable. She said that's not what she was doing, and so I know Jasmine, and I believe Jasmine if that's what she was saying.
I don't know her yet, and so here's how I see it. She's new, she's young, and she's trying to find her way. I think that this party is scrambling, trying to seem tough, and I'm seeing this party traffic in a lot of curse words. That's supposed to be like the new cool thing to do. I don't think that's going to be as useful. I've even heard Pete Buttigieg with a whole bunch of curse words. I don't know who gave that memo. I don't think that's very useful. I think you have to be very careful when you're talking about people with disabilities. And I don't think she was careful, and I don't know her enough to say she's not being honest, but I'm gonna tell you, it sounded bad. And I just want to finish. I think this party is trying to find a way to look tough and to show fight, but this is not the way. I don't think the cursing is gonna work. I think I've been on stage and I've gotten a little bit hyped sometimes too. I hope that she will take this as lessons. You talked about learning lessons, that type of stuff. It doesn't sound to me like she's actually taking full responsibility. If that's true, I don't like it, and she can't do that again. She's too important to us to do that again.
What I fear is that no lesson could ever be learned as long as you're doing these things in front of audiences who roar when you do it. When you have comedians who are broad messengers for the left.
What he was also referencing there was the fact that the crowd laughed when she called up Governor Hot Wheels. The crowd laughed. You guys heard the clip at the very beginning of this video. You heard it. They laughed. But carry on, Scott.
But Scott, unfair jokes, and people are roaring when you have politicians being vulgar and saying it in their roaring. What's the lesson? What's the audience? It says a lot about the audience.
But what we're trying to deal with is that Trump has done this, and he's been successful.
Yeah.
So when you have somebody who does this stuff and they're successful, you start thinking, well, is that the right way? I would like for us to say it's not. But I think it's hard for us to hear Republicans scolding us on it when your guy does it all the time. We are trying to find a way for it. Jasmine is too important to make these kinds of mistakes. I think she has a bright future. I hope that tonight she's looking and says, you know what? I don't have to do that kind of stuff to get an applause line.
They always go to that. Point the finger at somebody else. Whoa, no, don't come at me. Well, first off, the problem with that is Trump is genuine. Like, that is Trump through and through. That's Trump. That's the way he's always been. It's the way he always will be. What these folks are doing is so disingenuous. And you can see it. You can feel it, right? You know when somebody's being true and honest, and you know when somebody's like forcing it, trying to be something that they aren't. You're not cool, bro. Like, cursing doesn't make you cool. If that's who you are, that's who you are, right? Which, for some people, that's who they genuinely are. But these Democrats, they're forcing it to try to seem cool, and it's just weird and awkward and ugh. But anyway, let's hop into this clip from The View.
Last night, Texas Governor Greg Abbott responded to a comment made about him by Jasmine Crockett, and we're going to show you. Take a look.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot-ass mess, honey.
This is another day and another disaster by the Democrats. The reality is they have no vision, no policy. They have nothing to sell but hate. And Americans are not buying it.
Now, Congresswoman Crockett denies she was mocking Abbott's disability. She says she was referring to his use of trains, planes, and automobiles to transfer migrants around the country. She should not have made the comment at all. But Joy...
Yeah, well, I was just thinking when I saw this about, where was the outrage from Abbott when Trump was doing this?
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Oh, maybe that's what I said.
Well, that was about a report.
That's already been debunked. Trump's done that on many occasions. He wasn't simply making fun of that guy. He's done that 1,000,001 times. That's already been debunked because that was a whole story a while back. Oh, Trump's making fun of this guy's disability. And if you look back throughout Trump's history, he's done that before. Oh my goodness. He's done that before. Right? So that wasn't simply making fun of that guy's disability, which is what Joy Behar is about to say here.
Named Serge Kovaleski, who suffered from a condition that restricts joint movement. And he had interviewed Trump many times in the 80s. So he was basically making fun of the guy's disability. And I didn't hear the outrage then. Not that she's right or wrong.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about
Nobody
her,
should be
she was
yeah.
looking for a way to say hot mess and hot wheels.
Yeah.
And, you should leave that stuff to the comedians.
I think she should just own it, because Jasmine Crockett is a very talented politician.
Yeah.
Crockett, sorry. Is a very talented communicator, politician. She's effective. People gravitate towards her. This was beneath her, because Marjorie Taylor Greene, we expect that. That's the only way she can get a headline is by saying crazy stuff, and then everyone looks. Representative Crockett is so much better than this. So I think it would have been really relatable, because the rest of that speech, if you watch it, she's really impassioned. She says, I'm going off script. What I love a politician to do is say, you know what, I said that. I shouldn't have said that, and then move on, because then everyone would move on with her. Yeah. She's just too good for this.
I agree with that, because I respect her, but it's just never okay to mock someone's disability, whether you're Donald Trump or Jasmine Crockett. And he was paralyzed from the waist down, Governor Abbott, and when he was 29 years old, a tree fell on him. It's a tragedy, whether you like him or not. That's just off limits. And I think it raises this bigger point that we encounter in the Trump era, where just because he or some people like him go low, if we all go low back in response, then you just end up down in the mud. Things don't get better then. And right now, there's this whole question, like, should Democrats fight harder? Should they name call back? Should they shout? I think they should be strategic. I think they should. I don't think that the names help. I think right now there's a Wisconsin Supreme Court race that Elon Musk is pouring millions of dollars into to get the Republican seated. Democrats have a chance to fight there and have a strategic, tangible impact. Or Mike Waltz's seat in Florida, the national security advisor, is up in a special election. You could win a...
Yeah, on that note, I do want to address that as well. Make sure you guys are still out voting, especially in Wisconsin, where there's a Supreme Court Republican up and going against the Democrat. The Republican was behind quite a bit, but now I think he's made a comeback and he's tied it up. Trump after the Trump endorsement, but and I believe that's actually where Scott Presler is. So big shout out to Scott Presler. Scott Presler's doing some fantastic work. If you want to get involved, he's a great guy to hit up and get involved. But make sure you guys are voting, not just in the presidential election, but the midterms and everything in between. Everything in between as well. Like the Supreme Court vote, it's a major vote. That is extremely important. Extremely important in Wisconsin, as well as in Florida. There's some seats that need to be refilled. So make sure you stay active. Don't just go dormant simply because, it's not a presidential election. Stay active. Let's continue.
House seat. Do that rather than the name calling and trying to get
but the
headlines.
reason Donald Trump has all of these people following him is because he did that name calling. It attracts the press in a way.
Yeah, demagogues are going to demagogue.
But I'm sorry, I was just going to say, you have to be so careful with what you say. You do. Because your intentions may have been absolutely what you say. But once people hear you say something, it is not about what you said, it's about what they think your intentions are. So everybody's got to be really careful.
How about sometimes we have a headline about Whoopi and Joy, and then when you read the article, they love each other. They love each other.
I should know,
that's another
she'd made the joke before about him at Hot Wheels numerous times.
And what did she say that time?
There was like 3 or 4 examples. Referred to him as Governor Hot Wheels, said he was rolling up to the White House, said he... I think...
Yeah, so she meant to make fun of him, basically. when she called them Hot Wheels.
I think that
Not a good idea.
Yeah,
you just don't mock people with disabilities. I mean,
You don't mock
you
people.
don't mock people. I was going to say
Yeah.
you just don't mock people at all. And I admire Jasmine Crockett. I do think she's an effective messenger. I think this was a mistake.
Yeah.
And I think when you make a mistake, you have to own it.
Yeah.
You have to do that
Agreed.
because it
Gotta
gives you
do
a lot
it.
more credibility when you do that. I did not know that Governor Abbott was a paraplegic. I had no idea that he went around, and the people in the audience all started shaking their heads. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was a tree fell on him when he was 26. A lot of his photos are taken from
Yeah.
the step down, from the waist up. But she is the representative from Texas, so she very much so must have known that he is in a wheelchair. And so I hope that she does the
but
right.
whatever-
They want to censure her for
whatever-
it, and I don't
well,
know that
you know
that's
what?
not appropriate, but it
You
is
can't-
appropriate
you
for her to
can't-
apologize.
If you want me to take everything you say when he talks about different people, you said, no, I was just joking. Okay, then let's all do that right now and say, she made a mistake.
Yeah.
And we're going to move on. We're not censoring people. We're not going to do it. We're going to say to people, just don't do it. Don't make jokes. As Joy says, what is it?
Leave it to the comedians.
Yeah. So I mean, I do agree in part with the view, right? That Jasmine Crockett definitely meant to do that. She definitely, and you heard it there. That's not the first time that she has made fun of Greg Abbott for being in a wheelchair. I'll say this: there's no possible way that she didn't genuinely know that he was in a wheelchair. No possible way. She's from Texas. And if I remember correctly, she used to be in the state house in Texas. So she knows Greg Abbott. She knows he's in a wheelchair. This wasn't just like a mix-up of words or just by chance she said Hot Wheels, in reference to him shipping, illegals to other cities. Like, she knew what she was doing. 1,000%. 1,000%. If she was from a different state, I could see how she could possibly have missed that he was actually in a wheelchair. But no, she's from Texas. And she's been in politics in Texas. So she knows very well who Greg Abbott is. And when The View said that she should apologize and never do anything like that again, I 1,000% agree. 1,000% agree. And this whole whataboutism is just, it's laughable. It's laughable. What about Trump when he did the Well, first off, Trump has done that several times. It wasn't just for that guy. He's done that plenty of times, and he wasn't simply making fun of that guy's disability or whatever. That's been debunked. We're past that at this point. And that was a long, long time ago. But anyway, when Democrats try to take their moral high ground, but then they go back to, what about, it absolutely destroys their argument on, having some type of moral high ground, which they never had to begin with. But I'm just saying, in terms of their argument, it absolutely destroys it. It goes back to the old saying, hey, if your friends jump off the bridge, are you going to jump off the bridge too? Like, that's just common sense. If you truly and genuinely feel that what Trump is doing is so bad, why would you go behind him and do the same thing? I'm just saying, right? You've accused Trump of being this mean, nasty, and terrible person. So then why would you go and be a mean, nasty, and terrible person right behind it? Doesn't make sense, does it? It makes zero sense. So yeah, nonsense, absolute nonsense. But Scott Jennings said it perfectly. I hope they continue to push Jasmine Crockett out there. I hope that they continue this whole, I'm going to curse even more now. People that you never would have thought would be out cursing. We never heard cursing, like Pete Buttigieg. We barely have heard him really speak, but now all of a sudden he's throwing out a bunch of curse words and Democrats think it's great. Chuck Schumer even got in on the action. I forgot what he said, but he was making some kind of remarks about Trump, and he said like the F word. He dropped the F bomb or something, or MF or something like that. So even Chuck Schumer's getting in on the action. So apparently they think cursing is just like this new great idea. Okay, we're just gonna become a bunch of people who curse all the time and use a bunch of vulgarity because we think that Trump is popular because that's what he does, which not true at all. But hey, I hope they keep pushing her out. I hope they push her out to the point where she is their nominee for 2028. It's going to be amazingly spectacular to watch her absolutely flop in the 2028 election. But what do y'all think? I'm just a guy that talks on the internet from time to time. Let me know. Peace and love. I'm out.